The Spanish transition to democracy. The Spanish transition is known as a series of events aimed at leading the country in a peaceful and orderly manner from the dictatorship of General Franco to full democracy embodied in the constitutional monarchy that is current form of a state. It is sometimes presented as a model process to be taken as an example to be followed in other countries. In recent years, however, more and more historians have questioned such a positive view. It is a fact that the transitions was carried out without serious social trauma and within a reasonable period of time and ended in a stable democracy. But it's also true that for many years to the state security forces and ensure to all citizens, the recalcitrant right wing did everything it could to ensure the continuity of the old Francoist institution, even going so far as to organize an attempt coup d'etat due also to the global economic crisis and the lack of civil rights. Social and labor unrest was very intense, as were student protests. The questions of the territorial configuration of the Spanish state, which is still an unresolved issue, was also raised with all its force and complexity. From 20 November 1975, the day of Franco's death, events unfolded rapidly. First, on November 22nd, the coronation, the Prince of Asturias became King Juan Carlos I and delivered his first speech to the nation before the Cortes. Still under Franco, declaring the beginning of the new stage in Spain's history. His intention to integrate all Spaniards, the recognition of social and economic rights, and the monarchy's firm commitment to integration into Europe. The following months saw a succession of reforms, at first moderate until the continuism of some of the members of the government, then presided over by Arias Navarro, was gradually displaced by a new generation with Adolfo Suarez at the helm. The streets protests and the climate of dissatisfaction with the economic, political, and social situation, among other problems, led to the resignation of the government. On July 1st, 1976, the king appointed a new cabinet headed by Suarez, who immediately took the initiative. On July 6th, he addressed all Spaniards on television, pledging to lead the country to a modern democracy respecting the free will of the majority of Spaniards. Before a month was out, there was already a reform of the penal code allowing the legislation of political parties. At a first amnesty decree was published. Fundamental rights such as the right of assembly and associations were recovered, and the dreaded Tribunal of Public Order was dissolved. At the end of August 1976, the political reform bill was presented, and after many meetings and explanations with the institutions of the movement still in force, and above all with the army commanders, it was proved on November 18 by a Cortes whose representatives were ultimately voting for its own demise. The way was thus clear for the elections of what would become the Constituent Cortes. The Spanish